Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I think that some Gundams are a bit insensitive.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
And Rem. We've got the Flop Boys back because I did them
dirty. Welcome back,
it's
lovely
been a long
Flop
time.
Boys. We have David, we have Jordan. Shout out your shit, guys.
Hey, so this is David and Jordan from Shonen Flop. This is our third or fourth time. The continuity is kind of weird with this recording, but
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the fourth time. The third time happened, I don't know, a month ago? Is that
feels just like yesterday.
At least.
So anyway, Jordan and I every week cover a manga that ran in Shonen Jump, the place where you can find Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and we look at those that didn't do so well. We look at the series that last under 35 chapters, might have been under some questionable topics, and find out were they a flop or not. We've had Shaun and Rem on quite a few times, and I'm excited to have them both back for our 5-year anniversary episode that's coming up in May.
Maybe this series is about great smartphones. Maybe a series is
a stupendous
potentially smartphone, which is always my go-to. Maybe the series is about AR games.
How about Double Taisei?
And maybe the series is about sexualizing 12-year-olds. Who knows?
Oh, God.
Maybe that
by
one,
the artist of Death
maybe
Note.
that one's on
Jesus
the Shonen
Christ.
Jump English app. Who knows?
Yeah, and does not have a content warning.
Content warning.
Jesus.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So anyway, though, you can find us on shonenflop.com. That's SHONENFLOP, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or yeah.
All right, fantastic. So this is an interesting case because, of course, last time we were all brought together, Shaun decided to pull some shit. But this time, theoretically, we all have a good idea, allegedly, of what we're doing today.
Oh God, my notes. Yeah. Oh no.
Hey,
what did I do?
Oh, I have your notes. Here, do you want me to read it out for you guys?
It's called
So
we're covering this little anime called G Gundam. Like,
what if you fucking hell? You know what? Actually, yes, we're gonna just be on 3 episodes because now we're gonna cover G Gundam. And be like, Rem and Shaun, what was your favorite racist depiction in that series?
I would rather talk about G Gundam than maybe any other anime series. I'm gonna be 100%
That's why I had
honest.
in the fortune teller just the word G
You
Gundam is one of the options.
Let the pre-banter bleed through this much.
Hey,
Rem, let it.
Rem, what do you think the Gundams are made out of?
What do you mean? What are the Gundams made out of? Steel?
You're gonna have to
Metal?
watch G Gundam to find out why that question makes sense.
What do you mean?
Gundarium.
Okay.
Holy
All right.
shit.
We can't break Rem too badly, but no. This time I am actually being nice. We are actually going to be talking about the hit 2024 anime Dandadan.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it was my favorite anime of 2024 pretty handily. Yeah, like there are others that are strong contenders, but recency bias is a bitch. Whoa.
Look, I really hope that we'll have a lovely episode with the Flop Boys where we all just end up enjoying what we watch and I don't end up in a 30-minute argument with Jordan.
So we need to just explicitly be like, when the time comes, Shaun, I feel like you're gonna have to time box that scene in the first episode to like 5 minutes, or it's going to be the entire conversation.
Correct.
It is.
Yeah, don't worry.
I will set a timer.
Oh fuck! Already setting parameters. I'm the only one who doesn't really know what I'm getting myself into here.
Yes.
So if I may, Rem, a good idea of Dandadan is, as I had said before a little bit, there's kind of a spectrum of the madness between Fujimoto, the creator of Chainsaw Man, and his assistant. So it's kind of a Spy Family to Chainsaw Man scale of craziness. And so it's really how much of Fujimoto's medication he has actually been taking, with Spy Family being completely taking his medication. I would say Dandadan is he took it, he was pretty good about it, and then he fell off for like 2 or 3 days, but he did take it today. is where
I
Dandadan
see.
is. Jordan, would you back me up? That sounds about right.
I'd say so,
I'd say so. Definitely a lot less traumatizing the main character, though, thankfully.
No, just the
Yeah.
first chapter traumatizes the reader, depending on who they are. I don't know.
Well, the reader and both the main characters a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But gonna keep this nice and simple because I can guarantee that we are going to have a hell of a conversation
Yeah.
once everything is said and done with this.
We're gonna end up like having a relatively short part one, and people are gonna be like, "Oh God, there's so much episode left."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to keep it nice, short, sweet, and simple. But before we go into anything, I am going to put a content warning here. We do this in the case of shows that have scenes that are not great for everybody. And we want to make sure that if people are doing what they like to do with our show and listen to the part one, then go watch what we were watching so they can be all caught up. I want to make sure you guys are fully prepared. In the first episode of this scene, there is a scene of sexual assault that is not the best done.
A joke?
Yeah, it's not the best. It is quite unfortunate, and it wouldn't be upsetting if you skipped the majority of it.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not wonderful. It's probably the hardest thing. When you're presenting the show Dandadan to people, you tell them about all the amazing things. But people usually leave out that first scene, and it's usually... I've seen a lot of people get blindsided by it and are not happy by that. So I just want full transparency.
Because the rest of the series is not like that.
So wait, the first scene?
Not the first scene, the first
No.
episode.
Okay.
So just some context, when she's in the spaceship is around the time you need to start keeping an eye out
What
for
do you
skipping
mean
a scene.
in the spaceship?
We'll get into
That's
that.
all I'm going to say. It'll make sense.
It'll make sense. Don't worry.
It's hard not to spoil that, but like if you wanted to know around the time when you skip about 2 or 3 minutes of the show, it's that scene.
Yeah. And you can skip it. You can watch it. Do whatever makes you comfortable. But if you have any sensitivities to it, just be aware. The show itself is really good and really fun and entertaining and has a lot of heart. It's just that one opening, that one scene in the first episode is a little bit...
I mean, it also, the first thing that happens in the series is a woman gets kicked in the face. But,
It's true.
that's
It's true.
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
But again, like, the first episode...
That's
it's
not SA. That's just a bad person being horrible to one of our protagonists.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's just like the series is not like that. Is the thing. It's just like the first episode.
The first episode has a lot of high impact moments to hopefully get you curious for the rest of the show and or be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That's the main goal, but just be aware, there is a sexual assault scene about halfway through the first episode for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It's
That's
the
it.
only real instance of that.
Yeah.
And it's a sexual assault scene featuring aliens, so you can use your imagination.
Mhm.
But without further ado, let me actually describe the show so that Rem isn't absolutely terrified out of his mind or is still thinking about G Gundams.
Well, you can still think about G Gundam.
I'm always thinking about
always
G Gundam.
somewhat
That's my
thinking
secret
about
Gundam.
G
Yeah,
Gundam.
it just some part of your brain will always have G Gundam occupying it.
David.
Maybe
Look.
that's why I'm failing on dates. I keep talking about G Gundam.
Yeah, that's what the G and G spot stands for.
G Gundam.
David,
Yeah, the G Gundam spot.
look, the East is burning red.
I'll show you why I'm undefeated.
Oh my god.
But alas, Dandadan. So, Remington, these boys know Dandadan. They know it quite well.
Yeah.
I know it quite well as well. I am fully caught up in the manga and have been reading it like since it's started being on the Shonen Jump app, essentially. And it is a fantastically quirky, weird show about our two main characters, Momo Ayase and Ken Takakura, or Okarun as we like to call him. And he is very much your typical awkward, nerdy guy with no friends, but an obscene obsession with the occult and aliens and things of that nature.
All right. Yep.
Pretty straightforward. And Momo is pretty standard, like semi-popular Gyaru type character who is has a very strong sense of justice and is very straightforward in all of her actions. And she is raised by her grandmother, who claims to be a spiritual medium. So while she doesn't necessarily believe in the occult, cryptids, or UFOs and such, she strongly believes in ghosts and spirits because of how she was raised in her grandmother. And these two have a chance meeting where they get into a massive argument about which is actually real.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see.
And as hot-headed teenagers do, they challenge to go to the quote-unquote hot spots of their respective obsessions, in which case Okarun goes to a tunnel that is supposedly haunted by a powerful spirit, and Momo goes to an abandoned hospital that apparently has had sightings of aliens.
All right. Okay.
And lots of things happen, and the show is about these two's interactions after coming to find out, hey, it's not one or the other, it's actually both that are real.
I cannot stress just how much I hope that I end up liking this, because it would be so nice to have the Flop Boys on and just, be able to enjoy everyone's company, and we all are just revel something good, and we'll see if that happens. At the end of the day, I will end up being honest, but in the previous times we've had you guys on, there's always ended up being at least like a handful of trouble spots.
Yeah.
So what are we all thinking? Do you guys think Rem will like it?
No.
So if I'm being completely transparent with you, Rem,
Yep.
I think there are going to be aspects of it you enjoy, but I think the word that you're going to say the most is unnecessary.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
That's fair.
But that's a criticism I have with the show sometimes too. So,
all right. Okay.
generally speaking, it is a wonderful show, very beloved, and it's also just a little bit of a romance story between our protagonists. They start out as bickering friends, and then they become really good friends, and then the story just develops into their relationship and dealing with the entities around them, whether it's spirits, aliens, or some combination thereof. It's a comedy show. It's got everything from silly, childish humor to just absurdist humor. It has all of the makings of a top tier show, and I haven't talked to anybody or seen like much discourse over the show being not their cup of tea. The only discourse comes from the scene that I talked about previously, because that's not going to be for everybody. And if you show somebody the show without telling them about that scene beforehand, you're kind of a dick. But I have high hope. We have our lovely guests on. In fact, part of what really got me into rereading Dandadan was David being like, so have you read Dandadan yet? Have you read Dandadan yet? Like a year or two ago or something like that. And I was just like, yeah, I started it, but I'll reread it for you, David. I'll reread it.
I am
for
persistent.
You are very persistent. But that's why we love you.
I also got to say the opening theme is fucking...
The opening
awesome.
song to this anime is a bop. It's by Creepy Nuts, and they always succeed. It is.
I'm pretty sure it was like in the Japanese constitution, they had to do the theme song for Dandadan.
Mm-hmm. It is very good.
Because their name is Creepy
but
Nuts.
hopefully, Remington, you appreciate it and can find some things nice to say, because otherwise, well...
Otherwise, it's gonna be a 3-on-1 handicap match. I'm gonna get my ass kicked from you guys and our audience. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
Correct. So without further ado, I think let's go straight into it. And we're going to be doing essentially a bullshit roll for this one, because the two below me have already seen it. And there's one episode I really want you to see.
All right.
We're going to be covering 7 full episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's go watch some Dandadan. And we are back after watching the first 7 episodes of the hit 2024 anime Dandadan. And folks, there's going to be some conversations that have to be had. We got rid of the very unfortunate one of the first half of this episode. And quite frankly, I'm just curious to see about the positives of this show, or more likely, what are going to be Remington's focuses, the negatives. But before we let Remington get into it, I first want to ask our lovely guests what Dandadan means to you and what you love about it, just so that we can really, put the positives first and
Just
foremost.
making sure. Are you talking about Dandadan?
Yeah.
The show that... Okay, just making sure. I actually had an interview once where a recruiter, I was telling them about my SQL experience, and she's like, but have you ever used SQL? And I was like, holy shit, recruiters are real fucking dumb. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I promise I didn't switch the anime on you
No.
recording.
Well,
We're
as
good.
we talked about, I did try and plot with Rem that we would all secretly watch G Gundam, but he said it had continuity issues if we did that for 100 Girlfriends.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially because the G Gundam stuff wasn't, I guess, like, for the listeners, now it was introduced briefly towards the end of the 100 Girlfriends episode, because it was actually introduced, like, temporally in the pre-banter of this episode.
Yeah. Well, it's not my fault when you open the fortune teller, one of the slots just says G Gundam in it. It's not my fault. That's the slot you picked, Rem.
Well, no, but it's your fault for then fucking up the continuity, David. But we're not. Look, we can't get into the continuity right now. We have a show to discuss.
2 warm-up audios in a row before recording each episode. This is like going sock shoe. This is like going sock shoe of podcast recording.
Argue with Shaun. He was the one who bamboozled you guys. And like, all right, yeah. So listeners, we recorded the pre-banter in part 1 of 100 Girlfriends, and then before watching and doing the second part of the episode, we recorded part 1 of this episode. And then on a separate occasion, we recorded part 2 of 100 Girlfriends, and now here we are on yet another separate occasion recording for the Dandadan. It's a weird order of operations, I agree, but that's Shaun's fault.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, we probably would have been recording this episode we definitely would have been recording this episode on an even different, earlier occasion if Shaun had put the time in his calendar correctly. I mean, speaking of things to get mad at Shaun about.
All I'm saying is I was off by an hour. Rem didn't watch the show. That's
No, you're right. I'm sorry. I was getting a different occasion mixed up where you were asleep and weren't able to record. You're right. I'm sorry. There was yet another occasion that I had forgotten.
There have been multiple times that Shaun overslept when we were supposed to record a collaboration.
Yes, multiple times, by the way.
I feel we get one freebie pass where we just have to tell you guys to cover a series. We don't have to be on it, but we get to just be like, you guys now have to cover this for fucking us over with the recording twice in a month.
That's fair.
I mean, hey, I'll take that.
G Gundam is way too easy an option, and then Megas XLR isn't an anime, but I feel that would be something. Maybe that's a problem.
Megas XLR is kind of the closest the Cartoon Network has ever come to just doing G Gundam as
okay,
a
we'll
cartoon.
Consider that. I also feel like you guys at some point need to cover Look Back, because that is actually a cinematic masterpiece.
Hey, dog, I not to spoil anything, but I already have plans for it, so you're good.
I was really interested. I've been watching Legend of the Galactic Heroes recently.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, it's like this 80s anime based on like a bunch of novels. It's like
it has the human alcohol.
Yeah, it's Romance of the Three Kingdoms in space. Essentially, is the easiest way to think.
It's the Napoleonic Wars in space.
So Dandadan.
Yes. So Jordan, David, I want to know what this show and manga mean to you, why you love it so much, and why you think it's worth watching, and everybody should give it a chance and tune into it.
I like to flex that there's probably, I would say, Jordan, back me up, there's probably at least 2 manga I definitely got into before they got big. I was into Chainsaw Man like pre-Rize, and I was into Dandadan in like chapter like 12. So I had been a fucking ride or die for this series. Jordan and I have done some Patreon content. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, as I talked about in the warm-up audio, it's interesting how Fujimoto, the creator of Chainsaw Man, has a number of assistants, and it's interesting how it's like a spectrum of Spy Family, Hell's Paradise, Dandadan, Chainsaw Man, where it shows how often Fujimoto actually took his medication. And I feel Dandadan really is at that point where he is trying to do better, but his ADHD doesn't let him remember, rather than it being like intentionally not taking his medicine, you know?
Dandadan is nuts. It is a wild show. Also, like, what's great about Dandadan, just one thing, is that, like, pretty much all the UFO and alien stuff, and also, like, the yokai stuff are based on, like, real conspiracy theories and shit. Like,
yeah, like that Obama guy actually was real.
No, but, like, that's an example in the first chapter, and they changed it for the anime for some reason.
They replaced it with JFK.
Yeah, which is actually not the conspiracy. So here's the thing. I mentioned it in our group chat, but in the first episode of Dandadan, there's like a quick moment where Okarun points to like one of the UFO magazines he's reading, and it's like Project Pegasus revealed the president was on Mars, and that is based on a quote unquote real conspiracy where basically a guy got like his quote unquote hidden memories unlocked at a hypnotist and declared that he was a part of a secret CIA teleportation program where he lived on Mars, and while he was on there where Obama was also a part of the program and was his gay lover.
Oh my God.
That it.
Where's the conspiracy part of this?
The conspiracy is that the mainstream media wants you to believe that that didn't happen. What were we talking about?
So anyway, the point is, Dandadan, I think, has a lot of the fun of zaniness, or has a lot of the fun zaniness of Chainsaw Man, but I feel like it's not. Besides, and I'm sure Rem has like a 7-page thesis on that incident from the first episode, which we all acknowledge and we all fucking hate about this series. But it does have, I really enjoy the character setting. I feel it's a fun world. It has a great supporting cast that keeps expanding. Like the fact that they have this like family dinner after every chapter is such an interesting and fun idea that really shows kind of the zeitgeist. And that maintains. They literally start renting out restaurants because they have so many side characters that are helping them out. And it's just fun. And seeing that, I feel like Akarun and, why am I spacing on her name? Momo. Have what feels like a pretty solid romance that's going on in a shonen magazine where you know that's not the target demographic, doesn't care about that, but the author really makes it feel like it's an important element of the series, just like the fighting. Not to mention, the anime was well done, the manga is extremely, extremely well drawn as well, and it's just such a fun idea of this whole... I think science versus magic is such a cool idea, and it's distilled into sci-fi versus yokai in such a cool and fun way where we have a very vast wealth of interesting folklore to tackle that can tackle on the last 200 years of science fiction in like a very creative way that you don't really see blended as interestingly in a lot of series that try and tackle the two as separate identities.
What he said. Also.
Also, who doesn't fucking love Granny?
I mean, look.
You Turbo Grammy?
Yeah, both Grammys.
Yeah, both Grammys. You know, we've got the
Coward's Gilf and the
Coward's Gilf. Coward's Gilf. Because she's a
wait a moment. This is a weird as fuck moment. Is she considered, like, I have in my notes that's a Coward's Gilf. Like, I have independently, I swear to God.
Whoa.
I swear to God, one of my notes.
Rem, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been by myself calling her a Coward's Gilf. I've never heard anybody else call her that.
Is it because...
I swear to God, I have it in my notes right now. Coward's Gilf, that's not a granny, that's just a woman with white hair.
Yeah,
what the
I see.
fuck?
Yeah.
Rem, we've been doing this together too long.
You're on the same wavelength. That's it.
I mean, in her defense...
Okay, here's the thing, dog. We don't know how old she is, and she talks and acts like a proper granny, and there's weird magic shit going on. It's Coward's Gilf until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I love how, like, Dandadan, like, all this silly shit'll happen. Like, they'll just have to search for Okarun's balls, which, you know, gotta love that. And then it's just like, oh, here's an extremely depressing story of this woman who was killed by the Yakuza and or like beaten by the Yakuza and committed suicide because they kidnapped her daughter. Like, goddamn. I feel like it somehow gets away with that because, like, there's so much comic relief while also still being, like, heavy topics going on where, like, I feel like it's not like Loss or anything, you know?
Yeah.
That's where I go to for Whiplash. I'm sorry. That's where my brain immediately goes to.
Yeah.
I know it's past this, but I feel like, for instance, the handling of the character Gigi really shows where at first you think he's going to be this, like, Giga Chad stealing Momo away. And then it turns out that he is just a fucking giant cinnamon roll that just wants to be everyone's best friends. You know, he is a talking golden retriever. And it's just like, he's taken a character archetype where you think you know exactly who he is. And then you realize, actually, he's great. I love Gigi. You know, he just wants to be everyone's best friend, and he's not going to create this stupid love triangle that a lesser offer would have caused.
But more than that, Okarun loves Gigi. But anyway, Rem will have no clue what the fuck we're talking about, and Shaun might not either. I don't know.
Dog, I'm fully caught up on the manga. You're fine.
So, well, maybe we should keep talking, because whatever. If it's only Rem who's confused, then, like, whatever.
Jordan's like, if I keep talking, Rem can't say how much he hates Dandadan.
Rem, how much did you fucking hate Dandadan?
You know, fellas, you know what I really liked about the 100 Girlfriends episode? Obviously, the anime was horrible, but I just had a great time in that episode. You know, finally we were all on the same side, and that was a beautiful thing.
I knew it. Yep, there we go. Yeah.
What? I am just saying it's lovely when we're on the same side. Why
you know what, man? We know. We were prepared. We're not shocked. Just say it.
I think that Dandadan, it has great art and some really fun animation. It gets weird with it, and I appreciate that. Yeah, it's mid to bad overall when it comes to especially characters and quality. It's kind of trash, and I think that my best guess is that one, weebs are pretty okay with cliche-ridden bullshit, and then two, high-quality art makes the weebs think they're seeing high-quality story and characters, even when that's not true.
So let's break that down into pieces. So Rem, what would you like to be? I think since you have such a drastic opinion, I would like to break your arguments into pieces and let's discuss them piece by piece.
Sure.
What is the argument that you most feel ready to discuss?
Rem, what do you like? What do you like?
I like all sorts of things.
Really?
I like...
Let's start civil, and then we can degrade, but we have to pretend that we are actually reviewing something instead of just getting mad at Rem for 40 minutes. So please, Rem, continue, Senator.
So let's start.
You're wrong. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
seriously, shut the fuck up.
We talked about, of course, the scene in episode 1, and you guys, like, you prefaced it hardcore, like, hey, it's wildly different from the rest of it, and yet, especially for the first 4 episodes, the primary joke they go to for 4 episodes is some variation on sexual assault. It's an ongoing joke in different ways, but it's always just, hey, how about some sexual assault here? Haha. So it's not just, obviously, I think it's the most blatant in the first episode, especially because there's certainly some camera angles that are particularly voyeuristic, and it's like, wow, this is horrible, but also, and I don't vibe with that at all. But as it continues, it's not just the aliens, obviously everything with Turbo Granny and the Coward's Gilf. The Coward's Gilf also just tries to sexually assault
Okarun.
Yeah, Okarun.
Huh?
There we go. Okarun. She tries to just sexually assault him, and once again, just played for laughs. It's just haha, and it's so silly.
God damn it, he found one of my big issues with Dandadan.
Yeah, if I may, sexual assault on Dandadan is like Babby's first.
But you can't just say, you can't just be like, look, I understand that people are like, oh, you're criticizing Epstein for the island? Okay. First criticism. It's like, yeah, because that's a blatant one that's right up there. Like, you can't just be, you can't say it's common, therefore it's invalid. It's like, it's common because, yeah. Of course.
I have to say, as I was watching this, there were moments where I'm like, God damn it. It never gets as bad as episode 1. But yeah, no, there are moments where it's like, oh, hey, it's that again. Hey, yeah. Oh, so yeah, you know what? That is actually an extremely fair criticism of Dandadan.
It is completely fair.
So
what else you got?
With this, first, once again, with the art style, they do a lot of fun stuff with the way they animate, even just things as simple as clothing design is nice and interesting and memorable. They have great, like, horrific yokai designs that are rad as hell.
Yeah.
And I vibe with that. Great lighting.
Yeah.
You at one point, Jordan, said that, wow, it's amazing that they can accomplish these different things without tonal whiplash. I disagree with that. I think there's huge tonal whiplash because ultimately it's kind of silly show where nothing matters. Like, once again, haha, sexual assault, right? So you're just saying that, like, hey, these big intense things, they're just kind of goofy and fun at the end of the day. All right, we're not taking it too seriously. And then it'll be like, and isn't it so tragic when this mother had her daughter stripped away from her? And you're like, wait, who's this mom? And you're like, oh, it's this ghost we just met. It's a spirit? Yeah, that one we just met? You should be really sad right now. It's like, oh, okay, I guess, sure. And don't get me wrong, episode 7, where this moment happens, where there's a spirit who shows up, we learn their tragic backstory, all that stuff, right? That is a very strong episode in isolation. It does not at all fit with the previous 6 episodes. It's an episode of a different show, as far as I'm concerned. It does not fit any of the themes we've developed. It takes itself extremely seriously, and once again, in isolation, that works. As part of a more trying to be cohesive whole, no, it doesn't work at all in any way.
Maybe it's just that like Dandadan is so full of whiplash that like it doesn't even seem like that wide to me. I don't know.
It's like the anti-Josh Whedon.
Josh Whedon, is that what you said? Joshua
yeah, well,
Whedon?
I don't respect the man. Joshua, yeah. Our 27th president.
Jojo Whedon?
Fuck. Oh, man, I can't wait for... Oh, man. You guys covered JoJo? I mean, what's the degree you guys have covered JoJo yet?
Part 1, 2, and a little bit of part 3.
Oh, man, part 4 is great. Oh, part 7 will be really fun. You guys can just jump to that because it's a different universe. How the bad guy is the president of the United States.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. It's actually probably one of the best JoJo parts. And they have to race to find the parts of Jesus before the president of the United States.
Yeah. It's the only one that takes place in Philadelphia for a brief period of time. It's pretty cool.
That's true. Yeah, Philadelphia exists in JoJo is confirmed. New York City was confirmed in part 4. Anyway, I feel like Rem makes a fair enough point because I think one of the issues is that we have all seen through the growing pains of Dandadan, where I think we can all agree, though, that while, yeah, there is weird sexual shit at the start, at this point, the offer actually explicitly draws the women in angles that avoid showing their panties. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I think you can really tell that's like a big sign of growth from the offer of this series.
Here's the thing that always like I appreciated about this author and how he draws women is that like he's not afraid to make Momo look goofy kind of, and like she'll have like some of her facial expressions just crack me the fuck up all the time.
Oh yeah, I appreciate some like gremlin mode Momo. Those are some really solid moments. I think that it's the most interesting part, frankly, about any character that has the most personality. Because if we want to then transition to my criticism about the characters, mostly they're bland and generic as fuck. Especially Okarun, who is all he is lonely otaku, and that is literally the only character he has had thus far. And I'm sure that you guys with all you've read the manga plenty, you're like, but he gets into the character. Yeah, but for 7 episodes, he is the most generic motherfucker we have seen. And he just keeps happening every single time. It's not that there's been any development with him so far, right? It's, I'm lonely and I want a friend. Oh, I made a friend. That's great. Oh no, but what if the friend isn't my friend? Oh, that would suck. Oh, it's so nice to have a friend. Oh no, but what if she doesn't actually think of me as a good friend? That would suck. And it just, it keeps repeating the same shit. Because unfortunately, and this is an ongoing problem with these 7 episodes, the dialogue and the actual like writing, I think the structure's right, where it's like, oh, these are the right beats, story beats you should be hitting, right? With a really fun premise. But the actual writing and the dialogue does the premise and the structure a disservice because it's so bland, generic, repetitive. It doesn't have texture. It doesn't have substance. It's shit I've seen a million times before. It's not adding anything to it. It's not adding any depth. You get a little bit of more with Momo. You get absolutely none with Okarun, and those are like the main two. So it's kind of rough.
But he's an awkward guy.
But that's all he is. And do you know how many anime I've seen? Especially like, a little bit of romance. Oh, you're telling me an anime protagonist is a lonely, awkward otaku? Crazy! Well, groundbreaking of a concept.
I mean, it does have to start somewhere where I think it is genuinely sincere, where if you are friend deprived, which I wouldn't know about, but if you make one friend, you are probably going to be very stressed out about losing that friend at all times. Like, it's hard not...
Sure. But that's not... My criticism isn't that, like, oh, you have an awkward character. That's fine. I love that Momo is, like, popular but also awkward. What I hate is it's the exact same generic template of awkward we've seen a million times, done in the exact same way, and that in 7 whole episodes, that has not changed in any meaningful way.
Man, I love Momo's friends.
In 7 full episodes, Okarun has done and been doing the same shit. And so, I don't get me wrong, like, yeah, sure, people all need to start somewhere. Ideally, it's done at least in a bit more of an interesting way. And then 2, it shouldn't stay in the same awful generic hell for 7 fucking episodes.
Oh man, if there was anything I could say to dissuade Rem, I would have said it by now.
I know it's It's a lost cause. I mean, ultimately,
don't you fucking poison the well on me, all right? Shaun does this all the time. You motherfuckers do this when you're on. You're like, hey, there's nothing we could possibly do to convince him. Don't use that as an excuse for your bad arguments, the fact that you don't have good responses for what the fuck I'm saying, all right? I'm always willing to be convinced. I can always change my mind on shit. You just need to convince yourself that I can't change my mind to justify why it's okay that I'm making good points and you don't have a good response, all right? It's a way to comfort yourself.
I mean, that's completely fair. I think ultimately one of my issues with creating a rebuttal is because I know so much more about the source material and what goes on. It's hard for me to isolate just your experience in a vacuum, where imagine you consider that 7 episodes, which is 14 chapters, which means that you are judging your opinion on 10% of the material that me, Jordan, and Shaun have all done. So that's why it's kind of hard to articulate our thoughts, because I think it's completely fair. And I think that's one of the issues with the format of the series is ultimately anime and manga are not designed to just be a 7-episode set piece. They take their time. Like, think about if you only watch the first 7 episodes of One Piece, while most people say you need to at least get to Arlong Park, which is episode 40 or so?
32,
which
but yeah.
I know is
Also, like, to be totally honest, Rem, like at this point of the night, I'm like kind of tired. If only we could like I'm usually better at talking on like, I don't know, like a Sunday morning kind of time, you know? It's like, it's a real shame that like we couldn't have had this conversation at that time, but you know, just didn't work out.
Oh, you sons of bitches. But even then, I'll say I'm not going to claim that I've gotten the full experience of Dandadan or anything like that. But I'm going to say if I have watched the length of 2 movies, and you have done less than I would want in like 30 minutes, frankly, then it's still gone wrong. Even if it's like, okay, it's a series, so it can go a little slower, right? I would still expect some meaningful stuff to be done, or at least to get a good impression. If you're like, hey, I understand that the first 3 hours, or as I've fucking continued with other series, I've heard it plenty, the first 5 hours, the first 10 hours, the first season or 2, those really aren't indicative. Then why the fuck are we wasting our time?
Here's the thing, Rem. I mean, like, the fact is that, like, the way that Dandadan is working, I believe, like, at this point, the series is selling you on on its spectacle and its humor and, like, it's fun. And, like, you know, it does go in with the idea that, like, you know, you're gonna connect with Okarun, you know, and then, or Momo, but I mean, let's be real, probably Okarun, you know, let's be real, who's watching this.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I think it does a better job than most things that I've seen at, like, having these characters be interesting, but it is still also primarily focusing on the humor, you know, the romance angle and stuff like that, and the like the spectacle and looking for Okarun's testicles, you know?
But see, and it's difficult for me to like find it too funny when, like, hey, different strokes for different folks. Most of the jokes thus far have been weenie, balls, sexual assault.
Yeah.
The episode 7, this is true. Episode 7 is the first episode to not make that a central joke in throughout the entire thing, and almost the only joke in quite a few of those episodes. And that's only because it's a random trauma episode. And so it's like, I mean, once again, maybe the humor gets higher quality, but it for me, it's indicative of what I perceive as low quality writing. The fact that a lot of the humor, it's not just that it's lowbrow, it's that it's lazy lowbrow. It's literally just, haha, isn't it funny? He's missing a ball. Haha, isn't it funny? We said the word weenie. Haha, isn't it funny? Sexual assault. And unfortunately, that doesn't get me laughing. Once again, Momo going gremlin mode, that's charming. That's amusing for me, right? But I'm struggling to think of any other thing that I even found a little bit humorous or entertaining in these first 7 episodes.
Oh.
There wasn't a whole lot, because once again, a lot of it is just haha dick. And like, it's a little kid said saying the word poop, it's like, yeah, that's, I guess, not a word you should be repeating a lot, bud.
I guess that's the difference. Is we're just knuckle chuggers.
Yeah, I guess we're just stupid, Rem. I guess we're just.
Once again, I love me some lowbrow humor. I just think that this is pretty lazy lowbrow humor that doesn't work for me personally. And that I would like to, I want to see a little bit more effort. Like I like effortful lowbrow where it's still dumb as fuck, but it's well crafted.
I need to bring a visual element that may prove that Rem will never like Dandadan. Rem, please check the Discord chat for a screenshot from a later character in the series.
It's such a stupid panel, but I laugh at it every time. I can't help it.
The panel you've sent me of 10-gallon wiener, even that is a higher quality dick joke than literally any that we've come across so far. I cannot emphasize.
So you do recognize the improvement in the series later on. See, clearly he has mastered the art of making penis jokes.
And once again, my argument isn't that dick jokes can't be funny. I think a lot of lowbrow humor is hilarious. It's just you need to do something more than literally just say, haha, balls. Like that's you're not doing anything, you're not crafting anything with just saying the word balls. And so you need to do a little bit more to elicit the humor. And then it's like, hey, yeah, funny, haha, dick joke. I can laugh at that. I can be entertained by that. It's not that I'm above it, far from. I'm happy to roll in the trash.
Oh man.
But thus far, it's lazy trash. And that's why.
God damn, guys. 100 Girlfriends fucking sucks.
Yeah. I think, by the way, I have my current frontrunner of what series to make you guys watch. I think if we're going back into punishment territory, I kind of feel Golden Boy would be a great choice for Rem.
Shaun, should I be scared?
It is very good, though. Unironically, I really like that series.
A lot of people really like Golden Boy.
It's a great punishment series, and yet you love it.
Well, it's the same way we all like Dandadan, except for you.
That's fair.
Has there ever been like a reverse anime out of context where like Rem forces Shaun to watch something?
Every single year
episode.
We have the 12 days of April Fools every year, where for it's a little Patreon exclusive where genuinely 12 bonus episodes, full length, and often very strange and off kilter, where I show Shaun a bunch of shit. It's a great time.
Give me an example. I gotta know.
Shaun loves it.
Well, you had him watch The Nightmare Before Christmas and then he vomited from eating too many Skittles, right?
yeah.
That was last year.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas like off the beaten path?
The movie wasn't the issue, dog.
No, but it was the premise of that episode was I was having him choose a trick or a treat, and I told him up front, if he chooses trick, I'm going to make him watch something bad. If he chooses treat, I'll make him watch something good. He chose treat, reasonable. I think we all agree. So I wanted to reward him even further. So I got him a big bag of candy, but I wanted to make sure he didn't waste the candy that I had kindly given him. So I requested that to reduce waste, he make sure that he eats at least 50% of the bag.
Oh, Jesus
during the runtime of The Nightmare Before Christmas.
You're evil. Holy shit.
It's a treat. It's a gift. I'm just making sure we didn't waste the gift. And he did. And so he was actually rewarded, which I wasn't surprised at all by, and didn't have to change one of the days of April Fools to be something favorable instead of bad at all.
Well, but give me an example of like something that you think is good. I'm just curious.
Like anything literally at all?
Like something that you made Shaun watch.
All right, something good that I've had Shaun watch is
That's too easy. It's too easy. It's too fucking
The Haunting
easy.
of Hill The Haunting of Hill House is a great series by my boy Mike Flanagan. It's fantastic. It's on Netflix, super high quality. Absolutely adore it.
I'm just trying to like figure out what you like, Rem, because so far like I only know the things that you hate.
Well, he likes a place further than the universe.
I like that. Recently saw Grave of the Fireflies. That was rad. BoJack Horseman is great.
As discussed, you actually were pretty like C+ on Dungeon Meshi, which I consider a pretty big W.
Yeah, that's a W. Have you watched Free Run yet?
We have.
Oh yeah, I think I liked it.
There we go.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. My next called shot is I think you will actually like Witch Hat Altier.
Oh god, that's a hell of a called shot, but alright.
You think? I think Rem will like that. I think Rem really appreciates worlds that actually feel lived in, because that was the things you seem to have really enjoyed about Dungeon Meshi.
It's true. I do like some genuine high quality world building.
And I would say Witch Hat Altier is probably one of the most developed magic systems in a manga I've ever seen.
Okay.
But I like genuinely, I like more things than I don't. It's just that here on this lovely podcast, like anime, I tend not to like, and that's just there's plenty of reasons, there's plenty of episodes that talk about it in depth.
That is the whole point. I mean, like, I'm not telling you, oh, you should, how dare you dislike an anime? That's like the whole premise of the show. If you liked anime, then what the fuck is the point of the show? Like,
yeah, I actually have a question for you, Rem. If you were to inverse the concept of the show and pick a topic you really enjoy, but Shaun would painfully go through every week, what would the topic be?
See, the problem with that is that there aren't many topics that would go for. It would mostly end up being him finding weird niche indie movies, or specifically bad movies on purpose.
But even then, I think that, like, if I didn't strive, if them being bad wasn't inherent to the premise, I don't know if there's like a category of a thing that I like that I don't think Shaun could vibe with. Because it's like, horror, he adores horror. I guess you could go with like pro wrestling stuff, but even then, like showing some memorable pro wrestling stuff, I think he would vibe and be impressed by shit.
I mean,
so,
I may or may not have a massive crush on a certain Ripley in the
and hey, this episode will be coming soon after WrestleMania, so that'll be a fun event. But like I don't know if there's something that satisfies that criteria in a categorical way that doesn't include me actively seeking out terrible shit.
Because I have an easy answer usually for like David and stuff. Yeah. Oh, technical death metal.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I figured it would be death metal.
Yeah, I mean that's the obvious one. There's also like abstract art that like I don't think David would be able to fuck with as well.
Oh, you know what? On that note, I guess I would just show him newer things. Shaun denies it, but he's a bit of a hipster. Right?
Okay. Whoa.
He's a bit contrarian when it comes.
Oh, Shaun's contrarian. Interesting.
Well, hey, let me specify. When it comes to newfangled things, Shaun, he likes. He's just a natural conservative at heart. That's what a blog said.
I am not. Whoa! I peaked the shit out of my mic for that.
Those are some shots fucking fired right there.
That is a statement to say about someone living in a red state.
That's a joke you can't make. That is a joke you can't make. Because people will take the joke far, and then they will actually think I'm conservative.
As someone who lives in AOC's district.
Meanwhile, we got Red Pill Rollins over here.
No, Christ.
This is like we're watching wrestling and like Rem said that and the announcer's like, what? God, what did he just say? Oh my goodness. And the whole crowd's like, and it goes to like Shaun and he just like looks furious.
Okay, also, we do need to talk about Dandadan. I do wonder what your audience is going to think of this episode. Rem, did you like the opening theme song?
I thought the opening theme song was decent. I'm pretty sure I recognize, not the name of the artists behind it, but like I have heard other stuff of theirs, I think. Am I correct in that, Shaun?
If you've been in my car in the past, 2 years, then yes.
Oh.
And they did, what's the...
Mashal.
Yeah, and then Mashal and the vampire one.
Vampires?
Insomniac.
Call of the Night.
Call of the Night. They also did the opening for Call of the Night. I think those are their most famous
they're
songs.
who I'm thinking of, then this might be my least favorite of theirs that I've heard, but it wasn't
interesting.
Bad. And I thought that the visuals of the OP are fantastic.
I just love how in the opening he's doing Ocarina is doing the Carlton.
Yeah, he is. Oh god. Yeah.
Fucking I think the fact that Rem didn't think this opening was an absolute banger really shows that there is just too much of a divide to reach across the aisle.
I think it's a light banger. I think that there's a lot better choices out there.
I'm gonna agree that I think that their Mashal opening's better. I do, but that's also because I think the Mashal opening is a stone cold fucking banger. Like
here, 1 sec. Let me re-listen to the Mashal opening.
Well, you haven't listened to it. It's the season 2 Mashal opening.
Oh, okay.
But you've probably heard the song because I think I might have sent it to you.
Link me one that I've heard, Shaun, because it may not even be who I'm thinking of. Because I don't know their name. I'm not in tune with any of this.
Sure, I'll just send you the Mashal opening that they're talking about, simply due to the fact that you've probably heard it in my car.
I love that.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Shaun has sent me this song specifically. I don't know in the context of an opening or in some other context, but he's definitely sent it to me, and yeah, it's much better than it. Look, this opening 10 out of 10. It's an absolute bop. For Mashal, for Dandadan, it is pretty good, but I mean compared to that, like
bing bong bong, bing bong bong, bing bong bong bong.
Well, then I guess we'll just have to do the anime associated with it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, compared to both of these, yeah. Unfortunately, this is out of the 3 songs I've heard of theirs, Dandadan has the 3rd on the list, which isn't a terrible thing. Just that the other 2s are more of a bop.
That's fair.
All right, I think this is the point where it's just the therapist is like, I think it's best you just get divorced. I do not think there is a debate mechanism to convince Rem that there is quality
David,
associated with it.
So are you saying that Call of the Night is absolute trash? Is that what you're saying?
What? Oh, no, I think that's a good series. I was just saying that was like another famous song by that band.
Well, here's the thing. Rem is not even saying that there isn't quality attached to Dandadan. It's just that he views things that Dandadan is weaker at as more integral to his enjoyment than the things that Dandadan is strong at.
Excuse me, Senator Jordan. If you replay the tape, I'm pretty sure Rem very explicitly said he considers the series bad.
Hey,
yeah.
I said mid to bad.
Yeah.
I said mid to bad. I would probably give it on the whole a 4 out of 10 because I do really value things like characters.
Honestly,
and,
that's like a pretty good score for
dialogue.
Rem, I think. Like that's.
Meanwhile, I think that like the art and animation is insanely good, but perhaps misused sometimes in the way that it tends to be used, and so it's they're like their best thing they're using in a weird way, whereas the thing that sort of pervades everything is, in my opinion, a lower caliber. And I would argue it's not even just that, I prioritize these things a little bit more. I'd also say that I think a lot of weebs, and I've said this many times, a lot of weebs will mistake like visual quality for narrative quality and for character quality. They'll say, okay, well, this show, it is better written and the characters have greater depth for the exclusive reason that it's prettier. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only contributing factor, and once again, sure, it gets better later. But I do think this phenomena exists where many people will be convinced that a show has a lot of depth just because it is pretty.
You know what? That's fair. But I still have to say, I enjoy the humor. I enjoy the characterization. I think the romantic elements have been handled quite well, and I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Also, I think that a lot of the times visual elements get like looked down upon, where it's like most of what you're doing is like visually looking at something in this.
I will also say people very actively were having criticism towards the art style of this series, so it's interesting for you to say that's a highlight. When the first trailer dropped, people were like, what the fuck is up? Why do they look so weird?
Those are the worst kinds of weebs. Yeah. Those are the true cowards who are like, no, I love the generic shit, but the stuff that's unique, oh, fuck that. And it's like, oh God.
I mean, Super Science, what is it? Super Science Subaru or whatever? I feel like I always... Yeah, I don't know why I always put the word super behind it. Yeah, they just have such a fun art style. And I think it's just weebs don't understand how anime can look good without a ton of shading.
For your frame of reference, Remington, this is the same studio that did Keep Your Hands Off Azoken.
And Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Well, we haven't covered
that.
Well,
it's like how everybody says that one is like a shitty artist or his art sucks. And it's like, one's art is so full of personality. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, oh, it doesn't look like, I don't know, insert
it doesn't look like the redraw.
Look like the redraw.
I'll say if anybody is like, oh, Dandadan, the art style is the worst thing about it. Those people, I wouldn't see eye to eye with. I wouldn't be able to understand. I would be like, all right, we can't even have a discussion if that's the starting point. If that's the criticism of it, then that's crazy. Because it's unique, it's different, it's actually thought out and deliberate. It goes against a lot of the quote unquote rules that you tend to see in other stuff, but it does so mindfully, so deliberately in a lot of cases. That I think it's much more compelling in that regard.
Yeah, so we can all mutually hate those people.
Yes.
Man, so I guess that's, at least we have a bridge together, and I still want to highlight Shaun has not spoken in this episode yet. So Shaun...
It's because we have two guests, and I want our guests to have a bit of a spotlight.
The floor is yours.
That's why I stay quiet.
Floor is yours.
Is that so fucking annoying when you're a guest on the show and they don't let you talk?
I don't mind. Look, man, I'll yap as much as a host will let me yap is the way I'll go. But, if I have something to say, I will make it apparent. The point being, I am still in the camp of loving this show.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with what I know of how it progresses. There's a lot more to it. It also speaks to me like on a deeper level because I know it's the same character over and over, Remington, but Okaroon definitely touched a soft spot in my heart because I hardcore related to him when I was younger.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, not really an experience that I'm sure you had much to do with, but as somebody who had to deal with it constantly until I got into high school.
But, couldn't he be relatable and also, not the exact same cliche? He can still fit into the archetype, but actually have a little bit more depth or texture or things that make him unique.
And I will say
I
he
don't
does.
think that would make him...
Just, more later.
Hold on, because I do want to say that I am now picturing a world in which Rem was like this cool jock with a billion friends, and he just watches this and he's just like, I don't get this. This just looks like a kid
he was
I
a violently
stuffed in a
charismatic
locker.
theater kid.
Oh God.
Once again, hey, first of all, I didn't identify as a theater kid, all right? The theater kids fucking hated my ass. I was involved in theater and they fucking despised me for reasons I never quite
You were
grasped.
just sitting there telling them that everything they loved was trash, and you just like...
I didn't even do that. I just was there and being like, hey, I want to play a part. That sounds fun. And because theater, especially in high school, is just weirdly combative and hostile for no reason. So many of them fucking hated my ass, and I was like, I'm just vibing, dude.
Don't let him dissuade you from the fact that a lot of people also super loved him. That's
okay, sure. But but not in theater. Not in theater. Some in theater, but mostly not in theater. But my problem with Okaroon is not that he is awkward. That is not the issue. All right. I love so many awkward protagonists. I've talked about it on this very podcast plenty of times, where we've had all sorts of lovable awkward motherfuckers who I really enjoy. The issue is generic and lazy writing. That's the problem, all right? You can fit any archetype if it's well written and has a little bit of depth to break it out of all of the cliches.
Like I said, I think he breaks those cliches just a little later on.
I'm surprised that you didn't have Rem watch the naked hallway scene after they fight the Loch Ness Monster.
No.
Yeah.
Look, man, my goal was, so if you want me to part the kimono, as it were.
Oh, he said it.
Just bring that
we need
around.
we need a Pee-wee's Playhouse secret word sound whenever Shaun says part the kimono.
But it wouldn't be a secret if he knows what the trigger word is.
Exactly.
But the reason I chose 7 episodes specifically is twofold. One, because the most popular episode of the series is pretty far and away that episode 7. I've never seen a single bad review for it. The closest I've ever seen is Remington right now.
I was just going to say Remington's review.
I said multiple times that it is by far the best episode. It just doesn't fit.
Yep. I haven't even seen that criticism about it, Rem.
That's wild.
Yeah, I've been skimming through some reviews, and I saw one review that said that this is the worst episode they've ever seen, and I immediately disregarded it because I was like, I don't understand how that could be the case.
And now we know who wrote that review.
He just, yeah.
But the first reason is because I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and I genuinely think that is a fantastic episode, and I don't think it's as much of whiplash as Rem makes it out to be, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, thank you. I'm not crazy here. Rem's crazy. All right. right.
Well, hey, I'm not saying that. But
We're
what I am
crazy in
saying is the
different ways.
second reason I wanted 7 episodes is one, we have lovely guests who are very familiar with the show. But first and foremost, people would be angry at me if I didn't show you up to episode 7, because I can guarantee you right now the emails would have said verbatim, well, he would have changed his mind if he had just seen episode 7.
You're right.
And Remington, am I correct in assuming that would have not have been the case?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I firmly believe that it kind of doesn't matter how many episodes I watch. If I don't watch the entire thing, people will say, well, you need to watch more, even if there's just 1 episode left. And if I do watch the entire thing, then people will be like, no, you wildly misunderstood the show. What it really obviously means is this. And then there will be other people who say, no, what it really obviously means is this completely contradictory thing from the first point. And they just contradict each other in what things obviously are. And like, there's always, but what motherfuckers will so rarely do is actually address what the fuck I say.
Which is why I haven't said much, because for the most part, Rem's criticisms are fair and valid.
I know. I haven't really gotten into a big argument with him, I don't think.
I think it's really just, it's not so much as criticism of invalid, it is just what percent of the Dandadan pie, with enjoyment being the other pieces, do those complaints take up? And I think the main factor is we all have these same criticisms that Rem has, but we simply believe our enjoyment factor takes up more of our overall Dandadan experience than it does for Rem.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like, it's a great show for us, not so great for Rem. That is unfortunately just the way it is. But Remington will say it's an objectively bad show no matter what. That is just the way it is until he's proven otherwise.
Rem will say this is an objectively bad show and everybody who likes it should go to jail. And like, I don't really agree with that. I think that that's a bridge too far, but like, that's what Rem wants to say, And, like,
yeah, when Rem said that, I don't think women should be able to vote anymore. I was like, okay,
all right.
well, listen.
Hey, look, don't put that on me, all right? We got Red Pill Rollins right here.
We got anti-suffrage for
fucking Aikidoing the direction of the hatred back towards me.
But no, I think that's out of curiosity. Have you guys ever had 2 episodes in a row where Rem, you actually liked the anime?
Oh yeah,
probably.
Yeah, we definitely have.
Yeah, I can't point to where that would be, but it's almost certainly happened.
Oh yeah, it's happened a couple times.
We had our first 2. It might have been our first back-to-back non-flops.
Yeah,
recently,
it was,
right, Jordan?
Wow.
Cyber Blue and Sex Ed 120%.
It's very educational.
It's literally an edutainment series that actually attempts to give good sex ed advice.
I will. Speaking of edutainment, as it were, I came across one review of people disliking the show, and one of their bullet points was this show has no educational value.
Which is untrue, because it actually teaches you quite a lot about interesting deep cut folklore, like the fucking what was it Fleetwood monster?
The Flatwoods monster. I know what the Flatwoods monster is. And actually, it is. Well, it also the Flatwoods monster is not a giant sumo wrestler like they say it is.
No, that's the creative interpretation.
But I did think it was interesting, like looking it up. Turbo Granny is a real thing.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quote unquote.
It's
real
in
thing.
Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh,
yeah, it's a very popular modern folk tale.
Yeah.
But, ultimately, Dandadan is a great show for people who love anime.
Yes!
So not Rem. Oh, I forgot to tell my Zamboni story. Is now a good time?
What? Yeah, sure.
Wait. David, what? This is the first I'm hearing of a Zamboni story.
I literally put in our group chat, remind me to talk about the Zamboni when we had to reschedule. So don't act like this is coming from nowhere.
It's true. Well, he didn't read any of that. He was asleep at the time, remember?
That's true. He was asleep. You're right. Once a message is posted in Discord, it just disappears.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Also
remind me Zamboni on Wednesday. David did put that in there. Yeah.
Well, let's close the episode out with a Zamboni story, shall we?
Okay. So
yeah, you can do your Zamboni story, then we'll close out the episode the normal way.
Okay. I just needed to say in some form talk about this Zamboni experience I had with my wife, where she was watching what's that comedian that everyone hates? She had
Matt
a
Rife?
sketch comedy Inside.
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer was in a movie called Kind of Pregnant.
Sure.
And it's probably one of the shittiest comedy movies I've ever seen. It's about her pretending to be pregnant. And the last 2 minutes of this movie almost made it worth watching. So what happens is she is dating this guy who like is the Zamboni service.
Wait, David,
for an
wait.
ice skating
Is your
rink.
Zamboni story just spoiling the ending of a shitty Amy Schumer movie?
Yes, but you're never going to
It's
watch
true,
this.
but I
Yes.
mean, you know.
Let me, please, excuse me, please
Okay.
let me continue and explain the last 2 minutes of this movie, which almost made watching that piece of shit worth it. So at the end, he rides up to pick her up on his Zamboni, and they just drive the Zamboni through the streets of New York, destroying everything using the Zamboni. They just collapse buildings. They destroy multiple cars while trying to drive the Zamboni. It makes zero sense why this scene is in the movie, but it is the only reason I do not regret watching this shitty movie is just to watch 2 minutes of Zamboni destruction with Amy Schumer and Will Arnett, or Will Forte just destroying
You're
cars
reaching
with a
for the
Zamboni.
will.
And I just do not understand why that scene was in that movie, but that's literally, it shows him blowing up a street of New York.
That
in
reminds me of
credits.
like my father's story where like I was watching this movie called Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, and at the end it was like revealed like, so you know, like Luke Skywalker is the main character and Darth Vader is like the main villain, you know, from the previous movie, and like it turns out that Luke Skywalker is Darth Vader's father.
What?
What?
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Amazing.
Amazing. It made watching the movie worth it, I think.
All right, I think Sean's been wanting to end this episode, so let's get to it.
It's more so.
That was my Zamboni story.
Well, thank you for sharing, David. I'm glad to hear that Amy Schumer still sucks.
Yet another instance of Shaun hating women. Red
Okay.
Bill Rollins back at it again.
I don't hate women, I hate that particular woman. It's an individualistic thing.
Shaun believes that women can't be funny. You've heard it here, folks.
Look, Shaun doesn't hate all women. He hates each woman individually.
I am going to die alone because of you three. But before we close things out, Rem, you gotta give me a guess. What do you think the mouse score for this is?
Oh, it's fucking sky high, won't it be? It's gonna be, let's see, it's gonna have a bunch of hype. Maybe there'll be some general criticisms. I guess there is some backlash as well.
It's been about 5 months since it finished. Since it initially aired. Yeah, so
I'm gonna say 8.85.
wow.
I think it's really high up there. I think the weebs love it.
All right. And Jordan, David, have you had a chance to look at the Mal page recently, or would you like to take a
No,
guess as well?
I'm gonna say it's 911 because we gotta call the cops on this recording.
I'm gonna say 9 on the dot.
No,
All right.
hold on. Okay. Well, gang, Dandadan is an incredibly popular series. About 397,000 people left reviews for it. And with those 397,000 reviews, Dandadan is sitting nice and pretty at 8.53.
Damn.
Wow, backlash was bigger than I thought.
So
Yeah,
most of the
really hard to
backlash,
people.
Rem, unfortunately for you, is not good. The backlash is mostly just contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. And
So Rem. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's unfair to Rem. I apologize.
I'm one of the real
Yeah.
ones.
No, you are. You are.
and a lot of the like mixed review, like most of the, if you were to look at the stat spread of it specifically, the reason it's a little weighted in one way is because more people get feel of it as a 9 or 8 out of 10 rather than the overwhelming amount of people that gut instinct put it at 10 out of 10. So it's just got a little less weight at the top than it usually does. And genuinely, all of the bad reviews they don't cover the things that actually are detrimental to the show. The most that can be considered genuine in a lot of these bad reviews are the comments on the nature of some of the sexualized jokes and sexual assault scenes, which those are the only valid criticisms I can find in most of these bad reviews. A lot of these bad reviews say that it is one of the most pointless and poorly drawn or animated shows. A lot of people say it's chaotic chaotic in the worst possible ways. They say it has no meaning or direction. It's a bunch of contrarian hoo-ha that doesn't really have much basis behind it, because a lot of the bad reviews immediately put it down as a 1 or 2 out of 10, which if you've ever seen anything truly bad in your life,
Yeah.
no shot this is a 1 or 2 out of 10, even if you have a sensitivity to the subjects in, which is completely fair and valid. You can at least recognize that there is quality in the show itself that people will find enjoyment in.
Unless you view it as like belittling your true belief in the secret history of the human race with regards to aliens, which it's clearly making fun of. How dare it? So
Yeah, it's making fun of the legitimate belief of lizard people,
Yes.
Sean, and that is discriminatory.
Well, Rem, as our resident lizard person, the final question I need to ask you is, and the boys. I mean, I know the answer for the boys, but I have a feeling where you're gonna go. Any chance you'd like to try and see where Dandadan goes from here?
I'm good, but I'm sure like there'll inevitably be like a cool clip of like the best looking moments, and that'd be neat.
And thus
Understandable.
the emails will flow in. And I will say, as I always do when we have a controversial episode, if you have a genuine response to Remington's opinions about the show and why you think they are invalid, please email us at animeoutofcontext@gmail.com and let us know. Because, sometimes maybe your perspective is the one that'll be the one that changes Remington's mind.
Has that ever happened?
Not recently, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
the issue is very, very, very few people sincerely engage. Like, I cannot emphasize the proportionality of the amount of people who will either just be like, you're wrong, cuz, and they won't elaborate. Or very often they will just argue, they'll like shadowbox somebody who is not me. Like they'll just they'll make up shit that I said.
straw man. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, cool, dog. That's not.
Damn, you just killed the shit out of that straw man.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's very few, and there are some people who do genuinely engage, and I love and appreciate them, and those are valuable conversations. Rarely does it result in like a huge shift of opinion, but often it can result in like a more nuanced opinion. It's rarely seismic shifts, and usually just adding gradients into the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think with that in mind, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Jordan, David, please tell us who you are and where we can find you and why all our lovely listeners should go and give you guys a listen.
Well, first of all, Shaun, I want to say thank you so much for having us on. It's always been a blast, and we're going to be so excited to have you on. Rem, you were here too.
Hell yeah.
But sincerely, thank you both for always having me on. It's been so great to do a lot of episodes with you guys. So we are Jordan and David. I don't know why I said Jordan's name first.
Because I'm more important.
And it's also grammatically polite.
Thank you.
That's fair.
Thank you,
That was
David.
the reason. Yeah, so we are the hosts of Shonen Flop. If you're unfamiliar, we are a podcast where every week we take a look at a lesser-known manga that usually ran in Shonen Jump, seeing if it was deserved to be a flop or not. We've covered a lot of really great stuff, including stuff from the works of Kishimoto, Araki, and Toriyama. So it'd be great if you guys check us out. You can find it at shonenflop.com. That's SHONENFLOP.com. We also have a really awesome...
Also, I was just going to say, spoiler alert, usually if a manga got canceled, turns out it was fucking garbage. But David was like, we've covered a lot of great stuff. And like, well, we've covered some great stuff by authors who went on to do much better things. We've covered a lot of really shitty stuff, but the episodes where we cover the really shitty stuff are some of my favorite episodes, like
Yeah. We've had some really fantastic episodes. We've also had some really great guests. We've had Shaun from Anime Out of Context. We've had Shen of Shen Comics. We've even had a few people who actually professionally worked on, including someone who met the offer of a manga we covered, which was pretty dope.
We've even had Rem from Anime Out of Context.
Yeah. Oh, has he been on the show? I forgot.
I think
No,
so.
I'm just all right.
This is such a stretch in your
that's
guys' relationship.
That's enough casual. It's enough casual
Yeah.
bullying your friend. I don't know why. It's just because he didn't like Dandadan.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's why I don't like rum right now. Oh, now I remember. I like rum so much I had to remind myself why I don't like rum right now. And on that note, Jordan, so I think we have 3 options as their penalty game for 1, not watching Dandadan, and 2, sleeping through the recording. So, Jordan, please feel free if you want. So my thoughts are 3. are Megas XLR, Golden Boy, or I don't know why, but I would love to hear Rem's thoughts on Evangelion for Children, which, as everyone knows,
Digimon
is
Tamers.
Digimon Tamers. So that's the third. So that's why I thought that might be a fun topic. So Jordan, is there any that really speaks to you?
I'm kind of feeling Digimon Tamers now.
Okay, so I think that's pretty good mercy rule. Digimon Tamers is by far the best Digimon series. I've watched it as an adult. It is still very good, and I can't wait, even though you probably won't get to the child.
But
yeah,
it's a punishment game, so you have to watch the dub.
Oh, fine.
Sure. Okay, so you're gonna have to watch the first 27 episodes of Digimon Tamers.
God. Okay, all right, hold on. Pump the brakes. We can watch the show. We'll watch the show. But I don't want to kill the boy.
No. Shaun, I will leave it to you. I appreciate you letting us pick a title each game. I thought I would pick something reasonable for you guys to cover.
Look, I haven't seen Digimon Tamer since I was a kid, so, I'll give it a go.
It genuinely holds up. I was very surprised. Digimon Tamers is the one is the first one that's in a different continuity. So it's the one that is after like the original series and its sequel. So that's the one with the
It's
cards.
season 3.
Here you go, Rem.
Season 3, yeah. That one, yeah. It's got it's Steve Bloom, the voice of Spike Spiegel, playing fucking Lizard Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm generally familiar. I had so many of the toys of this Digimon series.
Same.
Did you watch it?
I think.
We're gonna find out.
You're gonna revisit these core memories and see. And man, Jordan, am I not benevolent and kind in my penalty game choice?
Yeah, this is well, to us it's fine. It's like lovely. To Shaun, it might be lovely. To Rem, this may be torture.
I mean, I'm gonna have to watch way more than Remington, so that's
all right.
We'll just have to see how that goes. I don't know when we'll watch it, but we will watch it. I need
Is
time to
that
actually.
Sean's way of putting it into the old recommendation hole where it's like, one day, and then 2 years later,
I
it's
am
like...
being genuine because it's going to be in canon in the podcast, and I felt bad for sleeping through that one day, but not nearly as bad as I felt when Remington didn't watch the episodes.
No, don't you? Yeah, I was there, all right. I was there.
How about you guys try and watch it by the end of the summer? How's that sound?
Yeah, there we go.
We'll do that.
I had a boss actually who, if I finished a project without any issues, he would watch an episode of One Piece. And then he said, I never said when I would watch it. And then I still think about that, and I haven't worked at that job in 3 years. And sometimes I think of just messaging him on LinkedIn and be like, did you ever watch One Piece?
Oh my god, I'm fucking LinkedIn.
Oh god.
Yeah, I really
I'm
think about
having
that
violent
sometimes.
flashbacks to Obama
Oh,
cookies.
it was Big Tony, the cookie guy.
Oh my god, no, not the
Holy
same guy.
shit.
No, not
It
the
all
same
comes
guy.
back.
I forgot you guys know Big Tony. All right, but I know you guys gotta do shit. But again, thank you so much for having us on. I'm really excited to have you guys on for our 5-year anniversary. That series will absolutely be dog shit. It was not meant to be a punishment for you guys. It's just the cycle of when we do for our 1-year anniversary or our anniversaries, we just loop back around. So we do a revisit of like the oldest series we haven't covered before.
Oh.
So it was just a coincidence that year 5 we were covering technically the 6th, because one of the series we can't cover anymore because it was like 80 chapters and we didn't want to make a guest read that before we realized that was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So this is the oldest one we haven't covered that isn't also racist. Anyway, all right. I will go upload the audio. You guys have a good night. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you. Once again, we would love to thank our lovely friends, the Flop Boys, for coming on to our show and absolutely getting their spirits crushed. And if you enjoyed listening to more than just Remington getting his spirits crushed, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, twitch.tv/anime-out-of-context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. I have been doing my best to do at least 2 streams a week. Hopefully, by the time this episode comes out, that will still be true. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime-out-of-context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are using their powers of psychic hands to crush our hearts and our auras. And on that list, we have, all right, are we starting with an emoji one, which is a challenge, and they changed it. Man, one, squirt, bunny butt, love. I don't know what that last symbol is. I'm in love with you. I don't know. It's Sean and Judy something. All right,
Yeah,
we know
I can
the
only
gist.
assume it's there to make me
get
sad.
the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yandere Neko, Wolfire 56. Why does everything want banana, Shaun? Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, why is there ash in my fruit drop tin? Week 8 of using my Patreon name to request code keys. Watching Requiem for a Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Variant, totally good. Titan CNH. There's an anime where the MC will spend the season deciding which of his sisters fuck, and now Misuke hates everything. The Susanator. The Opie Wrangler, formerly known as Mommy Milkers. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Zoro as my navigator. That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weeb. That has no place in Fairy Tale's 100 Girlfriends. Turban, Teddy Bear, Tainted Venom, Swaraj Verdi, Super Zoo, stole a nut from each of the Shonen Flop guys, thanks for distracting them. Stacy's mom. Shaun wants to give Spoon Man a thank and yang. Shaun cucked by Judy while he soaks in the Pope's ass. Shaun's hair reparent. Shaun's 100 rental girlfriends who really want him to cover the Monogatari series. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he was unironically a cool guy who deserves a compliment. Hashtag WillCult 2025. Shaun reminds me of half the trans girls I know. Shaun quit soaking with my grandma, please. Shaun, do your Duolingo. The Green Owl watches Ready to Goon.
I don't like that as a threat.
Does the Duolingo owl goon over him if he fails or if he succeeds? Is that like a punishment or a reward? It's not wildly clear.
All I know is they're horrible and they need to stop doing their AI bullshit.
Shaun, do you ever let Judy Hopps peg you? Hashtag One Nut Rollins. Seraphim the Shark Plushie. Ryan Moody. Ross Palmer. Riding on the Struggle Bus. Rhiannon Williams. Remington is right. Remy Milk is the quenchiest. Rem used the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem say haiku about Shaun soaking in Judy. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Venom. Professor Fox. Pro tips out of context has run out of things to post. We'll come back soon. Please watch 86. Good shit, fam. PJ Turtle. PJSK. PUHPJUHSK addict wants Shaun to keep his creative juices in his pants and out of David and Jordan's bottom cave chicken jockey. Paco Musico. Never letting Rem forget about his vampire past. Miss Baggy Pan. Mikeka 7 Hierto. Macaroni Uchiha. Lucky Star is the king of Moe. Link Joe Curl. Lurder 98. King Rich Rock. Cassidy. Jax. Jam Hands. Jake Dent. I'm making Rem say ethnic slurs until you bring back the Chef No Musco tears, Shaun, you whitey. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I did the jump hump for Rem and Shaun soaking. I can't believe I made an account for this. Horny and unfortunate MILFs in your area. Hiring a PI to look for Shaun's ass. Hide the Easter Bunny. Shaun's on the prowl. Ha 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 ha. Gordon Ramsay's raw sausage. Glenn Michael Dolan. George Edward Bottom, aka Bear Trap, brought to you by the Penguin Demon. G-Thing72, Fern the Fern. Farmer Weep supports Blue Sky Manager for Code Geass. Don't forget to kill all of the Japanese. Excuse me? What the fuck?
I don't. I don't.
It has to be a reference to something, but I got no fucking idea what.
Sorry, did they say Code Geass at the front?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then yeah, that is a reference to the show.
What the fuck?
Hey, man, it's a little dark at times.
What the fuck? Fantine, Erica McCorkle, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rum, tell me about it. I'm sorry about Shaun's nut. Calderius, Cheese Monkey, Butler Rat pushed his body way too far, pushing the 900 kilogram tracker for 1 kilometer through mud uphill might not be good for the body. Footsie Soakers for Shaun, for King Soak Master Daddy. Brockhard for Geodudes. Carl Weezer says Jimmy's mom has got it going on. Boring Siren. Blarf. Blackout drunk before butt stuff, says Miska. Bento Kato. Amazing Muffin. Aisha Gucci. A Moe piece of trash. 12 Days Xmas suggestion. All 3 Ari Ferretta seasons. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. What are they going to get this week, Shaun?
Oh, man. We've done yokai in the past. So I'm going to do one better. I'm going to do yokai, but it's a little weird because I'm choosing yokai from the very strange series of games and anime, Yokai Watch.
Perfect. On this list we have Your Friendly Neighborhood Kami,
Pandal,
Umbrasite,
Undi,
Truck Unit Operator number 42,
Tanbo.
Titaro still wants to fuck David. Anyway, how's Haley? It's so nice that since we got an influx of Shonen Flop names, that fortunately we didn't have them on for the patron readings, because that would be a thing.
That would look, man, and hopefully they won't listen to this one, so we don't feel bad. But they can have a Slash,
That Mouse Girl,
Mochismo,
Spoonman the Aristocrat,
Minochi,
Silent Secondary,
Helmsman,
Shilling Time for Ben Green with Maigo and Ave Mujica, says Miska, as Miska nods in agreement.
Reunite,
Scourge has Miska and an IRL girlfriend now.
Corptane,
Sammy K is finally over her con cred and remembered to change her name.
Blazion,
Roscop,
Quaken,
Powerzel begs Shaun to stop soaking in his low pun. He still has a couple gym badges he needs to earn.
Zero,
Monogatari is everything you ever said you want in anime. This week the MC is one bad character trait, but he knows.
Chanson,
Miska wants to know why you played Harikage. Why? Yells Miska as she scolds Rem.
Sheen,
Miska still wants to know why you played that song. Why did you play Harikage?
Snee,
Miska is a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listens to 100% Eat, says Miska.
Gleam,
Mike,
Benkei.
Miguel Deleon.
B3NK1.
I'd like to start a petition to replace the word brat with kudere.
Sushiyama.
It's March, time for Bang Dream. It's Maiko and Ave Mujica, says Mitsuko, who's playing Harikage.
Kapunki.
I thought Ocean's Motion was best. John showed me.
Beetler.
Hidden Otaku.
Beatall.
Crimson Reapers just because of the scythes.
Cruncha.
Captain Beagleboy wants One Piece on episode 400.
Zerberker.
Carver 271.
Snartle.
Beethoven 1201.
God, some of these names are really dumb. Snot so long.
Back on that Monogatari grind.
Let's go with Dachu.
Allfather attempts to... Yes.
Sorry, I need to send you a picture of Snot so long. Because
Oh my god.
I don't know how to parse it.
It's Shaun.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Allfather attempts to change his Patreon name before they're read so he doesn't have a dick joke in the Grave of the Fireflies episode.
Was that?
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun will give a kind of conspiracy that you've gotten involved with, and I will describe how you're involved with it and the grand twist. On that list we have, Shaun, I would flood the earth for a moment alone with you, a pair of handcuffs and a taser.
What's the taser for?
A good time.
Okay, a type is conspiracy theory. Let's go with, you know what, you can have, government malfeasance. I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's hard to do with an accent.
Good old government malfeasance. That one,
Malfeasance, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you are the one who designed the Elon Musk robot that is now running the government, and you were like, it's not ready yet. We can't throw it out into the world. But they didn't listen to you. They were like, hey, it's gotta be ready. We're gonna do it. And you're like, oh fuck. Oh no. He has no idea what the fuck it's doing. Next up we have Shaun trade-offer. You cover Dandadan, and I won't Studio Ghibli AI generate you pregnant with Rem holding you from behind. Well, there you go. There's the trade-off.
Look, man, this isn't me conforming to it because this was planned way in advance. Also, bad threat. If it was literally any other show, I probably would adamantly refuse to no matter what. Let's see. You know what? They can have, control of information.
All right. What you have done is you have carefully orchestrated with your friends, controlling all of the information about what goes where and what happens. So you've actually created a fictional friend in your friend group that everybody feels close to, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I wish they showed up to more events. We all love them, and they will all share fond memories. They don't exist. You created them, and were able to just hijack people's brains to convince them that they're real.
Oh my god, it's like the opening of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Jesus Christ. Then last but not least, we have Follow Anime Out of Context on Blue Sky. Does still not know who I am after my zoo photos on his Discord. Ooh, that's how ominous. Dylan. Wait, maybe this is just Dylan. Maybe that's the trick, and Dylan doesn't know himself.
Ah, man, that would be great if the conspiracy theory wasn't, extraterrestrial cover-ups.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And the thing is, actually, you are Dylan's alien ex-girlfriend.
I just want to say, Dylan laughed in the other room right when you said that.
He knows it's true. Confirmation, perhaps? And on the Blue Sky, of course, there's Made You Look, Remington, which you did. I did look. It's a true fact. Here I am, looking, beholding. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And thanks again to the Shonen Flop boys, who really are a treat to have, even if I crushed their spirits 2 episodes in a row. But we love you very, very much, and as always, don't fuck your sister.
Wait a minute. So Jordan was just talking about how much he loves the racist Gundam?
Yeah, it's amazing.